Hello, everyone, and welcome to Valley Strange, the podcast where we discuss the strange and the unknown from around the world.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to be discussing or delving into, I guess, one of Latin America and southern, southwest United States cryptid,
Mm-hmm.
Chupacabra. Hello, everyone. Roland
Yep.
joining me again for the Chupacabra episode.
Oh yeah. Time for the fun.
We've been kind of going over very loose news and predictions from the beginning of the year, but today we're going to be focusing on one of the topics that normally get us more attention, but also something that we like a lot as well, which are cryptids.
Yep.
In this case, one of the cryptids, I guess the more contemporary cryptids that have kind of risen to prominence in
The
my
past.
I've been growing up, which is
Yeah,
the
that's true.
Chupacabra. Roland, I mean, you remember hearing of like Chupacabra on the news and whatnot, I imagine.
All the fucking time at one point. It was like, what the fuck is going on? Why are you guys talking about this? Like,
It was something new that kind of came around. I mean, we used to listen to or hearing about Bigfoot. Um, at that, at the point of the first sighting or alleged sighting of the Chupacabra, um, 1995, I
mm-hmm.
wasn't familiar yet with the Mothman. It was mostly Bigfoot, duendes, duendes being primarily what my relatives, family, mom, aunt, uncle, grandmother would used to just scare us into submission and just so we can do what they say. And or La Llorona, which is another one.
Yeah. Uh,
But it's I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just saying, like, I wish my family had done that stuff. I read those stories just because I loved them, and I was like, holy shit, like, and I remember reading about La Llorona as a kid and like hating because I also slept near my window, and on
Yeah.
clear nights, you could see the fucking moon just shining in and everything, and I would just like make sure that my toes weren't poking out from under the blanket, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Like, fuck this. It was
You
great.
know, I just passing through like bodies of water or people that live near bodies of water, be it a
Oh,
lake or the soccer or anything.
mhm.
Um, I I would get, I guess, like I would say, like somewhat triggered or get
Aroused.
the
How does it know? I
just,
didn't know.
ideally, just the idea of living near a body of water,
Yeah.
knowing La Llorona mythology,
Hmm.
would scare, and even to this day, it still gives me a little hair standing up. You know, even though I don't really necessarily believe that,
No.
it's still kind of ingrained in you. It's been indoctrinated in you, like for
Same,
so
same,
long.
same to me. I think I told you when I was a kid, we lived across the street from a canal, an open air canal, and
Mm.
always here. And I would walk around there, in the late afternoons, dusk, and kind of stuff, and you'd see that place at night, and it was just like fucking creepy. And it's just across the main little street, and it's like,
Yeah.
whoa. So yeah, I mean that's actually I believe being near bodies of water has a lot to do with supernatural occurrences and encounters for various reasons that just don't really
I
need to
mean,
go.
I'm not too familiar if there are any scientific type of if there's any scientific data regarding bodies of water and people's
No.
tendency to kind of believe a lot of these supernatural things.
So the only correlation that I can think of that would be scientific in nature is because I'm sure you know how like the general superstitious or supernatural beliefs are that bodies of water are full of energy, right?
Mhm.
They're able to just provide I guess, a source of some form of power or something for these cryptids or not even cryptids, excuse me, the supernatural phenomenon. Um,
Ghost spirits.
sure. So by the but uh, saying that. From what I understand of like standard oceanography stuff that I remember, geology classes and stuff, is that yes, like in the general sense, a body of water, moving bodies of water are full of energy. Like that's literally the thing. It's energy of motion, and you know,
Mhm.
that sort of and everything that's associated to that. Um, so that's a very very loose, like, just association that I can think of, and that's
Right, there's no, like, concrete evidence,
no,
to support any of
it's
this
just
stuff.
the energy of, you know, motion, essentially,
Yeah.
of water, of moving body, a body of water, that kind of thing. So
So, going back to the Chupacabra, like, when do you recall, if you can recall, one of the first times you've heard about that particular entity
oh man,
being cryptid?
say like about the same time, around the time it was reported, like late 90s, I want to
Mhm.
say. So I was like in like junior high, middle school, maybe one of those kind of things. I
Right.
just remember it being very like just very popular all of a sudden, and there's just like tons of stuff, people talking about it in the news, uh and just classmates and shit chatting about it, the goat sucker, you know, that kind of stuff. I didn't know that at the time that, you know, it originated in Puerto Rico. I grew up thinking, oh, this is just another, like, you know, Mexican thing from Mexico or whatever. It's coming over here to fuck kill all our goats and stuff. Um, I didn't learn until I had a friend of mine who's Puerto Rican herself actually tell me, because she was like, uh she was you know, kind of annoyed about it, because she's like, that ship's from Puerto Rico, you motherfuckers stole that ship from us, you goddamn, like, Mexicans, and don't need, you know, like, taking, like, why can't you get your own, like, you know,
Oh, we have
more.
plenty.
Yeah, and that's
We
where
have
I was like,
plenty.
what do you mean? There's nothing but that shit. Like, okay, like, cool, whatever. That's interesting. So it crossed the Gulf of Mexico into Mexico, and from Puerto Rico, and like, I don't
It doggy paddled over here and
know.
started
Yeah,
sucking on all our goats.
yeah, yeah.
But
Mother.
yes, bringing that it is originated in Puerto Rico, and which was kind of news to me because not even I was aware of that until, like, researching this.
Hmm.
I thought it was somewhere around, I would say, like, the New Mexico, Arizona type of
Oh
area.
yeah,
That's where I thought it originated.
yeah. Like,
Um,
I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. Supposedly, I guess the most popular one would be the skinwalker
yeah,
phenomenon, which isn't a cryptid, of course, but like,
yeah.
again, like, this is the strongest.
Well, cryptid. I mean, the skinwalker technically is a cryptid, isn't it?
Uh, I would say, technically, maybe on a technicality, but it's argued that, you know, it's a like a Navajo witch doctor sort of thing. That
Yeah, but I mean, if it just being a shapeshifter would technically put it in, like, a cryptid category.
I suppose it's just my understanding of it is that cryptids are not. They're humanoid. They may be humanoid in, you know, in their appearance, but
Features,
like
yeah.
they are not human, you know, sort of thing. And
Okay,
so
yeah.
that's the only distinction. That's the only distinction. So aside
So
from that,
skinwalker technically is a human who can shapeshift into this thing,
some such, yeah,
but they are originally human beings, though.
right.
So okay.
From what
Um,
I don't know, like, if somebody wants to correct us, you know, that's what the comments are for, I guess.
yeah, and please correct us if we are incorrect.
Or maybe if you've
Um,
got some more, a better explanation, sort of thing. Hey, I'm all ears.
Absolutely. We're not above those types of
Oh no, absolutely not. I love talking to
or
people. We love
criticism.
talking to people and hear about this stuff. It's just great. So, you know, hey,
Yeah.
whatever.
The more you know, through the rainbow, you know.
Nerd.
But right, so just want to discuss, like, the origins of the chupacabra.
Hmm.
So it was first reported in Puerto Rico in 1995, and according to the reports, several farm animals, including 8 sheep, were found dead with
Hmm.
puncture wounds on their bodies and their blood completely drained. And the local media picked up the story, and the rumors began to circulate about a strange creature that had been seen in the area.
Now, just not to cut you off there, but just as like a sort of aside, there have been reports and of animals being drained of their blood since what, before the 70s, that kind of thing, and I think it's
Yeah.
still happening nowadays. I was just reading of these farmers that had reported it happened to them. I don't remember where it is. It probably was in the southwest somewhere, like Arizona, some such, of cows being drained of blood, and they want to straight up, blame it on aliens because they have had
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
a few, sightings here and there of uh, uh, unidentified objects in the sky. Um, Although one of the more interesting ones I saw reported them as black, sort of like orbs
Mhm.
flying through the air because this was during the day. Um, but yeah, there have been sort of like a lot of those sorts of things that
Yeah.
have been going on for quite some time and still do.
That's one of the reasons why I kind of assumed whenever I heard this,
Mhm.
the Chupacabra, that it was kind of in that particular area because I had associated a lot of, the cattle mutilations with aliens.
Right, yeah.
So
I mean,
it's kind
that's
of like
one of the
another
jokes,
thing
right?
in
That
there.
one of the well, not one of the jokes, but one of the theories is that I say joke because some people, like, in the way it was presented, there was like, oh yeah, they think it's like one of the aliens' pets or something that like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
escaped or let it out, or it itself is alien in nature, or it is some sort of alien animal hybrid kind of thing. And going by its looks, I mean that's I don't think that's out of the question because if those descriptions are to be believed, um, that's it's a weird looking little thing. Or well, its size varies, but yeah.
Mhm.
Sorry, go. You want to go ahead there?
Alright, so, over the following weeks, more and more reports of the Chupacabra sightings and attacks began to emerge from across the island. Witnesses described a creature that was roughly the size of a small bear or large dog, with spines and quills running down its back and glowing red eyes. That sounds similar to like a Mothman
Yeah.
feature with the red eyes, the spikes, all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And it says, as the legend of the chupacabra spread, so did the speculation about what the creature might be. Some suggested that it was an extraterrestrial or a secret government experiment gone wrong, while others believed it to be a previously unknown species of animal. That was another kind of a speculation about it's how like we kind of like as we dig things up in the ground, we tend to find more of our history, more animals, species that we aren't aware of.
Right on. Yep.
And I know now in this TikTok era, there's a lot of speculation going on within that, which mine is also mine kind of improvement, but it is also like interesting to even think about is
Hmm.
the possibility of other species that have allegedly gone extinct but still exist in
Yeah.
Antarctica.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, even
The
like in this hollow Earth kind of theory where there's still like dinosaurs and shit like that still roaming around. This could have been one of these particular animals that have escaped some underground world that we're just not aware of.
there are um I can't remember the last thing I read about of a particular animal that was rediscovered that it thought had gone extinct. The easiest one I always think of though is I think it was like the early 2000s or so, where they discovered this like prehistoric fish, the coelacanth,
Mhm. Okay.
over in, oh shit, I forgot where it was, but I mean you look at the damn thing and yeah, it looks like an underwater like dinosaur tank kind of thing. It's just covered in huge scale, like scaly plates. It's just this gigantic fucking fish. Um, but yeah, I mean, that even being an aside, there are still dozens and dozens of species of animals and plants and insects that are discovered every day. Like, and
Mhm.
that has not decreased at all. I mean, the Amazon rainforest itself, like there's just walking through there, people are just documenting so many
Yeah,
goddamn.
just not every square inch of the earth has been explored. Neither
No,
has the ocean. Like there's
absolutely not. The ocean is
more
like
that's no need.
percentages or something
Mhm.
of it has been actually mapped. It's like, yeah, it's ridiculous.
And I'm still under the impression and assumption that some kind of Cthulhu lives down there.
Uh,
It's got plenty of space.
can only hope.
Yes,
Fingers crossed.
let's cross our fingers. Cthulhu, come for us, please.
Hey, right. Rapture me to you.
Rapture, he's just gonna like swipe his hand and destroy us all.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's gonna bless us with non-existence.
You mean my I won't have to pay off my student loans?
No,
Fuck,
you won't.
that shit's done,
Oh,
son.
they might still can come get.
Right in the afterlife, they're fucking fault motherfuckers. Yeah.
Because at some point or another, the stone that your grave is gonna be worth, they're just gonna chip away. Like that's that's the only currency we have is like chipping away tombstones and stuff.
Nice.
Um, so let's get into like the description of a chupacabra. Since we did talk about like briefly that it has red, they've seen it having red eyes and
Right.
spikes and whatnot. But this is kind of like a very general look at what it could be. So like the size of it, we've done this with like the lechuzas and the duendes. The duendes being kind of the more ambiguous ones, can be from
Right.
like 3 to like 8 feet and shit like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
For the chupacabra, it's typically described as a small to medium-sized creature ranging from around 2 to 5 feet in length, and it is often said to have a lean, muscular build and move quickly on 2 or 4 legs.
Yeah.
So it can kind of seem to range from like canine characteristics to
Humanoid.
like humanoid Mothman looking thing too. So I mean, I can see the confusion there. And as far as like the skin and the hair, the chupacabra is often described as having scaly or hairless skin, which is said to be gray, green, or brown in color. And
Mm.
some reports suggest that the creature has fur or hair in certain areas of its of its body. Where could those possibly be?
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, the facial features of the chupacabra is often said to have a large, elongated head with a
Mm.
pronounced brow ridge and large, round eyes. And
Mm.
some reports describe the creature as having fangs or long teeth, and while others say that it has a small, narrow mouth. What like when you hear those kind of characteristics, I mean, you just think what dog,
Yeah.
fox,
Dog or a
wolf,
bear, like a coyote, some kind of
coyote. Yeah.
canid, angry.
One of the interesting things I found, I thought it was kind of humorous, is whenever they broke it down into like the behavior and diet of the chupacabra,
Mm.
and this is what it says. So the chupacabra is said to have a nocturnal, is to be a nocturnal predator that primarily preys on livestock, particularly goats and sheep.
Mm.
And it is often described as attacking its prey by biting or puncturing the neck and draining the blood. And
Right.
some reports suggest that the chupacabra also attacks other animals, including domestic pets and wild game.
So, um, there are quite a few predators that
Do
attack
that. Yeah.
animals. Yeah, they go for the neck. Coyotes will do that. Wolves for sure. Bears don't give a fuck. They'll start at the ass and go wherever the hell they feel like it. You're still alive in that one,
They
son.
will go ass to mouth.
Oh boy, it's they're not picky, I guess,
No.
or particular rather. But yeah. So, and another I guess possible alternative is that when in most general sense, when animals die, all the gas buildup in their body just causes their stomachs or wherever to rupture, and that itself can look like a knife wound sort of thing,
Right.
like surgical kind of looking, or leave rather almost surgical tear in the body. And so um,
Well, that would explain like I guess the layman characteristics of these kind of dead animals, because if you're not too familiar with, um, I guess
right,
post mortem uh things such as animals, especially where they died and how like they died, and what could happen after the body, even just laying down like in the grass or something in the hot sun or temperature wise. A lot
mhm,
of things have factors in it, especially like the fact if it is an animal, and then of course you have other animals coming around to kind of pick at it because
right,
it's food now.
yep.
Um, if you're not around to see any of that and you just see the end result, which is a drained animal, I mean, your imagination starts to go crazy.
Right, yeah. Is that well, yeah. I mean, the first thing that people always go to is whatever that usually they go straight for the Bibles. Pretty much. That's
Yeah,
kind of
it's funny. Like in the past episodes that we've talked about, I mean,
Bibles.
Probably no, I probably could count the time where you're gonna say something and you don't wanna, like, really go any further than what your thought is saying thinking, and you
Yeah,
just kinda, like, have to sigh, take a
yeah,
breath, filter a little bit, and then say whatever you're gonna say.
yeah.
And I'm saying, you gotta go all out. Just say whatever you're gonna say.
I I I do
I'm the
like.
I'm the editor here. If it's too much, I'll cut it out,
Oh
but
yeah, I know. I've had those moments.
unless we're going live stream, then it's
Yeah,
all, every man for himself.
I do try to generally give everyone the unfiltered, unvarnished goodness, but some I don't want to alienate our viewers either.
But it's funny that you say, how people kind of resort to, of course, their belief system, be it Christianity or, I mean, if depending on which culture you're in, you're gonna associate it with maybe the anti version of what you normally would believe.
Demon,
Demon, yeah, possibly.
your helmet.
But they described, or they mentioned that the Chupacabra, which again I wasn't aware of in these kind of cultures, in the Latin America culture, which is not necessarily a Mexican culture, but further south, South America stuff.
South America,
They
West.
considered like the Chupacabra like a harbinger of doom,
Hmm, okay.
and again, a harbinger of doom for anything that's like people have fear of. That's Lechusa for sure.
Hmm.
Duendes also. You see
Yeah,
Duendes, harbinger
there's
of doom. Something
and
bad's gonna happen.
there's over across in Europe. There's the banshee, right? That's
Mm,
another.
okay.
There's I forget if the jumping back over here. If, I don't think the Wendigo was one of those harbingers, but yeah, it's actually a very common association. I'd say to quite a few of these uh, cryptids being
In fact, I think the only time reading about Bigfoot, whenever we did our Cryptids of Texas episode, that Bigfoot was considered a harbinger of doom was whenever
yeah.
discussed Davy Crockett thing. That's the only time I've read about any. I mean, again, correct me if I'm wrong.
Hmm.
Anyone listening, correct, put in the comments or whatever, that Bigfoot is not really considered a harbinger of doom. It's just kind of a creature that allegedly could be interdimensional and stuff. Which also, I mean, I didn't read anything about that here with the chupacabra, but also a cryptid could also be considered a jumper of dimensions, interdimensional. That's why we don't ever catch them. That's why they only come in at night. All those kinds of things. Oh,
Well,
even the aliens too. Also, some of those are considered interdimensional beings as well because they kind of jump in and out. We don't ever see them.
yeah.
Who knows?
They've never been caught, but well, for the most part, but they've supposedly been. There's that one example of this woman in Texas. I think you've seen that image that they think they caught one, and she stuffed it and had it mounted, and I guess put in her like sort of exhibit. And basically everyone that's looked at it and reviewed it, I don't know, she sticks to her story and insists that it's something unknown and unexplained, but they assumed it or looked and tested it as well, and it was supposedly a coyote with mange kind of thing. So
He's a sickly coyote.
yeah, and you and I have seen quite a few videos of uh, people that think that they've caught one, and it's like a baby bear or something with mange, or like a
Mhm.
dog, like a dog, because there are breeds of dogs with black skin,
Mm.
with no they're hairless, or rather, are not, shaggy like most animals. And we saw that and we just thought they looked sickly, kind of thing. It's like, what are you guys doing? Just give it some food, or like give it his shots or something. Like, this is sad.
Well, so they're not going to do that. That's the whole point.
Yeah, well,
It's better to believe in these random things than to help an animal out.
truth. Yeah, exactly. That it might be fucking
It's
some starving animal. Like, I mean, I'm looking at the image of of that stuffed one, and it just looks like a sickly, sad fucking coyote, pretty much. And I just
I'm
like,
which article was that by chance?
so I found this off of the Texas Observer.
You wanna share it?
Yeah, let me go ahead and it's like I almost thought I saw this one time as a kid at a in a doctor's office. There's this doctor I used to go to, and his lobby was just full of taxidermied animals, like just everything. I think at one point he even had a full on like grizzly bear pelt on the fucking wall. Like it was just crazy. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
let me share this real quick.
sure. Yeah, but you just scroll down a bit and you'll see the what I'm talking about there. But yeah, so this was this was reported by a lady by the name of Phyllis Canyon or Canyon. I'm not sure how that's pronounced, whichever. Out in Texas,
There
and
it is.
yeah. So apparently, it's been tested, quite often, and everyone's just like, it's a coyote. And she's like, no. So hey, you know
Uh,
what?
well, that's what I'm saying is that, like, that particular animal, like, since she's probably never seen one before
Mhm.
that kinda looks like this,
Right.
I mean, it just looks like a sickly animal.
And going back to the first sightings in Puerto Rico, the woman that reported it supposedly, Madeline Tolentino.
Mhm.
Uh, I think you probably heard of this, but before she saw it, she actually went to go watch. She went to see the movie Species,
Yeah.
and so that was another association why she thought it looked like something like that. But that saying that, a lot of people are also just like, okay, you went from watching the Species movie to seeing one out in the wild. What were you
Again,
smoking?
continuing on with, like, even that kind of, where people correlate, certain things that they see
Mhm.
immediately after they've witnessed or watched a movie.
Right.
Um, I mean, I've had the same situation with my mother discussing a previous scenario where she had literally just come from watching The Exorcist, and
Ah,
then that particular night, I think I've told you this story before, where she was asleep in her room and the doorbell was ringing kind of like all night long.
mhm.
And then, of course, they would go out and then nothing was there, and then she was flipping out. And my mother is a little like she gets very scared and paranoid about like lots of things.
Sure.
And they had someone come to check in. Apparently, there was like a wire loose or something. But she didn't. The coincidence from her to The Exorcist
Right. Yeah.
were too similar or too close together.
She's like,
That
watch that fucking movie.
yeah. So like now, like that movie is already like in her brain, a
Yeah.
thing that she can't even she can't even hear
It's
the
feeding.
music.
It's feeding
Yeah.
the.
You're feeding the demon. You know, that's gonna come and just go ding dong, fucking night.
There was this one extra little explanation here. It's actually in the text of the same article that I just wanted to mention about another. Again, I'm taking this as a joke, but that you know how you were mentioning it was an escaped United States genetics experiment, right?
Yeah.
Possibly,
Mhm.
or an alien collecting blood to spread AIDS.
Eh,
Yeah, yeah.
good stuff.
Yep. Thought you get a kick out of that one.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's Trauma's war all over again. The AIDS brigade.
Oh man,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so regarding the fact of, any sort of scientific analysis, I did go through a few things and kind of, got some points to
Mhm.
discuss because, I mean, you always want science involved because that's gonna give you, like, the facts that you need to either
Yeah,
validate your claims or debunk them, and if they are debunked, just accept it and move on.
you got it.
But yeah, so, uh, one of the things so examination and examining the scientific evidence or lack thereof
Mhm.
for the Chupacabra's existence included DNA analysis, forensic investigations of supposed Chupacabra attacks. So,
Mhm.
there have been several DNA analyses conducted on the alleged Chupacabra specimens over the years, and however, the results have been inconclusive and have not provided any conclusive evidence to support the existence of a distinct Chupacabra species. For example, in 2007, DNA samples were taken from a supposed Chupacabra specimen found in Texas, and the
Mm.
samples were analyzed by a team of scientists at Texas State University, who concluded that the animal was coyote with severe case of mange, is one we talked about right now.
Yep.
And in
Yep.
2010, DNA samples were taken from another alleged Chupacabra specimen found in Texas. This time, I'm sorry, I might have like messed with that, but this time the samples were analyzed by a team of scientists at the University of Michigan
Mm.
and concluded that the animal was a coyote or wolf with severe case of mange. And in both cases, the DNA analyses did not provide any evidence to support the existence of a distinct Chupacabra species. Instead, the specimens were found to be ordinary animals with severe skin conditions that gave them a strange and unusual appearance.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That just makes me feel bad mostly. You know.
Yeah, I'm feeling bad for these coyotes out there
Yeah.
suffering and
Yeah.
having to put up with these discrimination um, tactics that people have against
Wrongly
animals.
persecuted. Yeah, exactly.
Wrongly persecuted animal, for God's sakes.
Oh yeah, I don't deserve this.
Let's see.
Or maybe they do. Coyotes can be kind of shitty.
Yeah, I mean they're not they you don't want them as fucking pets or anything, but I mean
Oh, absolutely
yeah,
not.
you don't want to see the animal suffer necessarily, but you know.
Yeah, of course.
We wanted to explore some of the cultural and historical roots of the chupacabra.
Mm.
Why did people start thinking this? Like, what brought about this discussion of the this animal itself and all the mythology behind it? So there
Mhm.
were similar creatures in other cultures and folktales. So, for instance, the vampire.
Right.
The chupacabra is often compared to a vampire, the legendary creature that has been part of folklore and popular culture for
Mhm.
centuries. And both creatures are said to drain the blood of their victims and are often depicted as evil supernatural beings. Boom,
There you go.
debunked. And this one was kind of weird. I never heard of this before, but El Chupacabras.
Right. Yeah, I thought that was interesting too. I
uh,
I wasn't aware of the that there was a difference for the whole time for the longest time. I thought people were just saying it the wrong way. I was like, you asked
Right. And I mean, going back, I don't know if we said this before, but chupacabra means like goat sucker, and chupa
right.
means to suck, and
You suck.
cabra means goat.
You got it.
So
Yep.
it says here the chupacabra legend may have been inspired by a similar creature known as El Chupacabras, which is found in the folklore of Central and South America. This creature is said to resemble a large bat and is known for sucking the blood of animals, similar to like a vampire bat or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that I thought was interesting was the incubus. Says
Ah,
in
yeah.
some cultures, the chupacabra is associated with the incubus, a demon that is said to have sexual intercourse with sleeping women. This connection may stem from the chupacabra's ability to attack animals while they sleep. I'm just kind of curious, like how the jump between a demon that has sex with women's
Yeah.
and a something that sucks the blood of animals while they sleep.
Yeah. So
Unless the chupacabra is like the player of the year and like doing like a whole lot of fucking of these animals first before he kills them. I don't know if that comparison is
it's a bit of a
to
jump.
be made.
Um,
Yeah, it's a
I
bit
mean,
of a jump on that.
you can see the like a sort of association, I suppose, very, very, very loosely.
It's stretching a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, the incubus and the other side to it, the succubus, the female version. Those are, I mean, there's no real nice way to say it. They're rape demons. They they just seduce
Yeah.
people, whether by choice or by coercion or some sort of. Uh,
It's I mean you could associate it with those that experience sleep paralysis,
mm-hmm.
and having those kinds of alleged entities kind of assault them in some
Right.
way.
Yes. Yeah. During that particular phenomenon, there
Mm.
been quite a few of those sorts of reports that I
Yeah,
understand.
I mean, in fact, there's a whole movie. I mean, I wouldn't say it's about sleep paralysis necessarily, but I mean,
Oh
the
man.
movie The Entity
Hmm.
is basically the ghost that pretty much rapes.
I actually found recently there was an indie game that I saw that is about like you have it's a game about sleep paralysis. And I thought it was I was like interesting. You know, you go through the days or whatever, and then you have your nights sleeping, and then these various things will visit you, and I was just like, yeah, okay, yep, it's pretty much everywhere in popular culture at this point, sort of.
Right, but associated with the sleep paralysis, a lot of times you don't really get too many instances where the whatever people see is like physically attacking them. They may
Mm,
be like on their chest, like hard to breathe, or they're standing at the edge of the bed, or they see
pressure.
in the hallway where they see like a silhouette, or they're in
Mhm,
the window, or
mhm.
they're like just taunting them basically.
Right. Yeah, they're
Um,
just they loom.
another comparison that I thought was interesting was the Mongolian death worm.
That one was interesting. Yeah, I had not I know about the Mongolian death worm. I did not think about that association. So yeah,
I never heard of this either. I mean I never heard of this. I mean you said you
oh,
had.
the death worm is I it's a uh pretty interesting cryptid that I heard about. I've seen some of I guess images of actual just large uh worms with what look like are huge incisors and teeth on them. I had a picture or two, but if I'm not mistaken, the Mongolian death worm is like reported to be what was it like between 3 to 4 feet or some such. It's kind of
I'm not too familiar with that. Like I said, I'm not too familiar with that
okay.
thing.
That's all
So
right.
just to go a quick comparison on that, it says the chupacabra has been compared to the Mongolian deathworm, a legendary creature said to inhabit the Gobi Desert. Like
Hmm.
the chupacabra, the Mongolian deathworm is said to have spines and quills running down its back and
Hmm.
is known for its deadly venom. And so it's like a real thing, though, right?
Yeah, it's but the usually these and I actually had a picture of not a specific Mongolian death worm, obviously, but like it was I guess like just an analysis that someone was doing of one of these things, or
Mhm.
and but you're talking about between like 5-6 inches kind of size, which is still fucking big for
Now, no,
is.
that's average. That's average.
Ah, jeez.
What's the girth of these worms?
It's the same but around. All right. No,
Oh shit!
let me.
The idea that sounds scary. Like you said, it has teeth.
Yeah, like I mean, it looked like a kind of like a graboid. Actually, I thought it
That's
was kind of
that's
interesting.
terrifying.
If you go ahead and I'll keep looking here, see if I can find that little
Oh, we'll
picture.
go to the last one here as far as like comparisons.
Mhm.
The Jersey Devil. Uh,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
the Chupacabra has also been compared to the Jersey Devil, a legendary creature that is said to inhabit the Pine Barrens region of New Jersey. Both
Mhm.
creatures are described as having wings and are known for their ability to attack and kill animals. I believe the Jersey Devil is kind of like a Mothman in a way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically it's like the Jersey version of the Mothman from
So
Point.
right, it's like the Jersey like demonic version of some sorts.
Yeah,
Right?
more aggressive, I imagine.
It's supposed to
Um,
be like a
I,
human devil demon hybrid of some sort. I think.
I'm not too sure like about the history of the Jersey Devil or like any sort of fatalities when it comes to human beings.
Right. Me neither. I
Uh,
don't think there was it mostly involves sightings, if
right.
anything. If I'm not mistaken. As far as its lore, I'm a little hazy on that. I read at one point about a nun that gave or not maybe not a nun or it might have been a very pious woman that
Mhm.
uh, had 12 children, and her 13th child for some reason or another she cursed it. I'm not sure why that is, and it was born
13th. I mean,
it was
that's
born
obviously gonna be the bad one. Yeah.
as a as a uh, fork-tailed
Like a hoofed creature.
yeah, exactly. And that's it just sort of escapes and does its thing, I guess. I'm not sure, but I know I've heard other sort of stories about it aside from that one. That was just the most recent one I remember, but it mostly goes along those lines there, that it's some kind of freakish demon baby.
So we want to move on to the sightings and encounters. A few sightings and encounters of the chupacabra, alleged. Uh, Remember, nothing is in concrete. But these were like, I guess, the most noteworthy
Mm,
sightings and encounters. So we have the first one that is in Puerto Rico, which is the first alleged sighting of the chupacabra in 1995.
mhm,
The location of the first reported chupacabra sighting and is often cited as one of the most credible. Witnesses reported seeing a creature that was about the size of a small bear with spines and quills
mm,
running down its back and glowing red eyes.
mm.
And of
So,
course, the animals that were left dead in its wake, I
right,
guess.
it's a dog with mange and rabies. Got it.
Um, I, I Roland, I don't know if you can pronounce the name of the, I guess, the city or town. Is it Canovanas in Puerto Rico? I don't want
Uh,
to. I hate butchering these names here.
I mean, yeah, that's good enough. Canovanas.
Canovanas.
You got it.
The next one is Calama, Chile. I assume I may have pronounced that right. I don't know. In the
Nah.
year 2000, in this case, a farmer reported finding several of his goats dead with two small puncture marks on their necks and their blood drained. And the
Mm,
farmer also reported seeing a strange creature that was about the size of a small dog with spines running down its back and large eyes. Again, maybe a sickly dog.
mm-hmm.
And of course, I mean, we don't have too much information as far as like some of the scientific analysis, if there was any, regarding DNA taken from these particular things. We did discuss it a little bit earlier, but not for every one of these.
No.
One of them was in Hood County, Texas, 2004. Several sightings of a creature believed to be the chupacabra were reported in this area, with witnesses describing a hairless, dog-like animal with fangs, spines, and glowing eyes. DNA tests were conducted on a dead animal found in the area, but the results were inconclusive.
Which means it was probably not that. It was
Right.
likely just like, oh yeah, cool. You guys just found a dead dog or
And
something.
one of the last ones, and I guess fairly recent, was I guess like 5 years ago.
Mhm.
Santa Fe Province, Argentina, in 2018. A farmer reported finding several of his goats dead, with two small puncture marks on their necks and their blood drained. He also reported seeing a strange creature that was about the size of a small dog with spines running down its back and large eyes.
Mhm.
Same thing again.
Same description. Yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep. Little gargoyle. Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's. I mean, I think the one thing about the chupacabra that kind of keeps the mythology going is the fact of just multitudes of dead animals that seem that their blood's drained in like areas, not like sporadic, like one animal here, one animal there, but like just groups of them just dead.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know what that could be attributed to. It could be like disease, probably,
Right.
um,
Um,
just malnutrition, something like that, and then
mhm.
animals come and feed. But I mean, maybe neglect of the farmers too. I don't know. I don't want to accuse them of anything.
Oh no, I mean, I wouldn't either because that's, I mean, they're losing out on their livestock, so that's kind of a big deal for that for them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and to be fair, I mean there are more accounts and sightings, but these are allegedly like the most credible. Why necessarily, I'm not too sure, but I mean those are like the ones that were pointed out specifically.
It's because, well,
Um,
it's hard to say. Again, like when we just looking at that example of a taxidermy animal there, which is very obviously to me, I'm gonna say not one of those. But there are, I mean, there's always going to be some sort of, we have to go with some sort of scientific explanation because we have
mm,
no other place to start from. You know, you don't start from the superstition. To me,
right.
I think you you study that. You know, that's your research. But like you have to kind of, I don't know. I mean, it's the whole way to understand these things is we need to describe them. So, um,
Right. It's so like as we've discussed, we've kind of like sprinkled some of this in while we're discussing this, that the alternative explanation to some of these things have been, like we discussed, could be weather related.
mhm,
Um disease or infection of these particular animals, because I mean they
Right.
are in a group, so like it could easily spread amongst them as well.
Right.
Um,
When animals, another thing, when animals die, all the blood pools in the bottom of the body, you know, and that
mm,
could just be unaccounted for. If anything, it congeals even. So,
yeah, or it's just seep into the ground or something.
mhm.
I mean,
So there's
yeah,
we have to start with the most obvious explanations and then work our way out from there. It's like that's the go down the checklist. You know, okay, how many heads does
yeah.
it got? One. Okay, cool.
That's one of the things. It's a good point to make that. One of the things regarding a lot of these cryptids is that like we have to start from the most practical explanation for these kinds of
Right.
things and then work our way out. Which
Yeah.
most people, I guess, not in a. And I'm not
They-
saying I am or we are necessarily the most scientific when it comes to certain things, but I mean, it's kind of a leap whenever you start off from like the most. You start out from out here with an explanation
Devil.
way
Yeah.
in,
Yep.
and of course those claims or explanations have no real basis in fact or I would say recordable evidence
Right.
necessarily. So, like a claim is just a claim, so you can
Hmm.
just make that, and you don't have to like necessarily prove yourself on those
Right. I
instances.
mean, it's hard to. It's and that going about proving that is the problem. So like that's
Mhm.
it's not something that we can rely on necessarily. So
And I mean, here at Valley Strange, we like to think that's cool though.
oh,
Those
absolutely.
explanations are cool as fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, you also have to like,
Love to hear about this stuff and love to
yeah,
read about it. But like
you
we
also have to kind of like uh I won't say excuse or push aside your need for fantastical things
right, yeah,
and just base them
we have
on
to ground
reality.
these
And
in some kind of reality, uh, as best
again,
we can.
a lot of the alleged sightings and encounters have been hoaxes, or obviously, like we talked about, misidentifications. Coyotes with just mange, or just dogs,
Yeah.
probably sickly dogs or something. And I mean, you've seen a dog, a rabid dog,
Oh, yeah.
and they're scary as fuck. And I
Oh,
mean, they're always showing their teeth and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, that's easily um, an explainable thing to like attribute to something like this, because maybe they are
mhm.
eating these animals. Because I mean, dogs will eat whatever
Oh, yeah,
available.
they don't give a shit. It's kind of annoying sometimes. Mhm.
Yeah, but I mean, let's see here. Let me.
I found that picture. I was gonna go ahead and put it up on,
You can put it at the
Drive.
end of that.
Let me see if I can. Uh, here we go. I'm just gonna put it under Drive if you wanna just, um,
Okay.
have a look. It should just take a quick minute. There you go. Let's see if you can find it. But, that was an example of, one of the I'm not sure where in an Asian continent that, this particular worm was found, but I believe this one was like, 5, 6 inches kinda thing. It's, it's a pretty interesting looking deal.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Sure. But if you look at its face, like, yeah, you could totally see this thing, uh, being perceived as some kind of like vampire, carnivore kind of. I've had that picture for such a long time because I would just pull things off of the internet, over the years. It was like, okay, here's another like some random
That's
thing.
fucking terrifying looking, dude.
Yeah. So I believe this one was like about 6 inches, like I said. You can see there on its and it's got fangs. It's got those golden quills coming out of the back
That
there.
is, I'm just looking at it again. That's just fucking terrifying. I mean, if you're saying like 5 cents, you're just saying like something like this big,
Mhm.
roughly.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
scary. If I saw that, I'd freak the fuck out, man.
sure. Uh,
uh,
I think it looks crazy badass, and yeah, if that's something that
I
was
mean,
playing,
it does. I'm not gonna lie, it does. But I mean,
if
if I saw it in
playing
my
around
presence,
out in the wild, I'd be like, okay, I'm just gonna back away slowly. Don't eat
yeah.
me. Like, pretty much. But yeah. Anyways,
Let's see here.
It's
Um,
not out of the question. This is was all I meant. Like because there is some weird shit out there that we're still figuring out and finding. It's
Absolutely.
it's great
The last things we do want to go over is the chupacabra in pulp pop
culture.
culture.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
so here I have a few instances where the chupacabra legend has made its appearance in some of our favorite shows as well. Not all of mine, but some of them.
It's all
Uh,
right. I know you like. I know you're a huge Supernatural fan. It's fine.
I've seen a few episodes. I'm not a fan of it. It's not my thing. Um,
I've seen a few episodes every season.
I may see like 1 or 10 episodes at a time. It's no big deal. Again, so Chupacabra has become a popular figure in popular culture, appearing in a variety of films, television shows, and other media.
Mhm.
Supernatural, you mentioned the TV series in season one. The Winchester brothers investigate a series of mysterious deaths that are attributed to the Chupacabra. That's crazy that they went season one with that shit, just right in the gate.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever year this came out would have makes sense because of the Chupacabra story was kind of in prominence. You throw that in there.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Grimm. I know of the show. I've never seen
Saw
it.
some of that. I didn't get into it, but I did enjoy what I saw. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting little uh, cross
The
between X Files and Supernatural, actually. Which
yeah, I think so. Yeah. Chupacabra in Grimm was in the episode titled "Island of Dreams." It actually
mm,
makes an appearance, or a creature resembling this made an appearance. I don't know if it was like called outright, but I mean, you can kind of tell.
sure.
The one I'm more familiar with is the X Files episode.
Mhm.
Season 6 of the X Files, the Chupacabra is featured in an episode titled El Mundo Gira. I remember that episode specifically, and that's the first thing that came to mind when I was thinking of how the Chupacabra legend has kind of infiltrated in pop culture. X Files came to mind immediately.
I think I saw this next one here, the Scooby Doo and the Monster of Mexico, the
Never
animated
seen
film.
that.
I want to say I'd seen that somewhere on like on a Cartoon Network Friday.
If
Uh,
you've seen that, I don't know if you can any
mm,
recollection. Do any of them start talking like in like some kind of Mexican accent or something? Does,
mm,
does Scooby start saying like talking? Is he like talking in Spanish, or Shaggy asking for weed in
in Spanish, ¿Dónde está la mota?
go?
Oh,
Where? He's like squeaky voice. Where are the cartels, Scoob? I need to get my fix.
yeah,
Shaggy, like
we're over here. um, yeah, no, that's that one. I do remember watching that one. It's been such a long time. I mean, I think there. I found another one of there was a cartoon called Dexter's Lab that
Mhm.
they had the little chupacabra guy in there too. It's just this little green guy with some spines on. It looks like a something between a like a gremlin and a gray or something because of the big black eyes and
I will say this next one I do want to see
hmm.
is Chupacabra versus the Alamo.
Oh.
This is a 2013 film that features a group of people who become trapped in the Alamo during a Chupacabra attack. That's in San Antonio, bro. If it has to be filmed in San Antonio, right? Like it has
Oh,
to have been. I hope so.
there was
You know why?
there
You know why I'm saying this? Because I lived in San Antonio when apparently this movie came out. And if
yeah,
they were filming around that time and I missed my chance to be an extra in this piece of shit,
that would have been
I'll
great.
never forgive myself.
Well, maybe you can catch him in a sequel. Who knows? There was also an appearance in of the Chupacabra in the Mike Tyson Mysteries
Oh,
cartoon.
really?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, what else?
No, we need Chupacabra versus the Lexington.
I mean, any excuse to go to Corpus sounds cool to me.
No, but can you imagine a movie on the Lexington with a Chupacabra kind of running about? Like,
Yeah, that would be
there's like
great.
so many places to run and hide in that place. It's crazy.
Fuck yeah. That's
Another film. Again, I wasn't aware of some of these. Chupacabra Territory, a
mm,
2016 found footage horror film, follows a group of friends who venture into the wilderness In Search of the Chupacabra.
Hmm.
I want to watch that one too.
Hmm.
And I would imagine this is more up your alley, the video game aspect of the Chupacabra.
Yeah,
Um,
I do
have you
recall.
played any of these games?
Yeah, I have played Final Fantasy VIII, Red Dead Redemption. I've played that one, but I don't remember. I have played Call of Duty Ghosts, but I don't remember that either. But I think I do remember it being in as a just some mob you fight in Final Fantasy VIII. Um,
I think that was the one that kind of surprised me the most is the Chupacabra in Final Fantasy VIII.
yeah, well, it's funny, but I've played most of them, and I forget over the there's a lot of just overlap in my head as all of that
Mm.
goes. I'm not surprised because of how these guys do their lore building, their all their games. They pull from every fucking world mythology to make this
Yeah, I
stuff.
would imagine, yeah, but I honestly, I've seen Final Fantasy, like I've
Sure.
seen people playing the game.
Yeah,
Again, I don't play video games, but I've seen people play these games. But Final Fantasy would never have crossed my mind as something that would have the Chupacabra in
yeah.
it.
It's pretty funny. I thought it was cool, and I had forgotten up until now that you reminded me there. Apparently, there's also the Chupacabra in the third Hotel Transylvania movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
Well, speaking of animation, there's a new one coming out. We just saw, remember recently? Well,
Chupa.
we didn't see it, but like Chupa is gonna be coming out on Netflix soon.
Yeah,
And,
so they're trying to
and
make
I'm
him.
gonna say this right now, like this was
Mhm.
not this Chupacabra episode, and the timing of that is not planned. We're not sponsored by Netflix, although that would be pretty tight if that
Hey,
was the case. But it's like some kind of family, almost like Harry and the Hendersons looking kind of shit
yeah,
with a CGI Chupacabra, and he looks cute as fuck.
he does, but they call him
And
Chupa,
they
which
call him Chupa.
mm, is only used in that context as slang for something sexual, like
Yeah, it's just really weird that they're
yeah, it is.
naming
And
him
that
that.
was actually a lot of the comments to that trailer where people were like, why did you name that? Do you know like
No,
what the
I will say maybe, and the way it looks,
uh
it seems that now there are like it seems like there's like ethnic or Spanish or possibly Mexican
right,
actors in this film. But the fact that they would agree to sign on to a movie, which I'm really certain, I could be in shock to find out that it was not a white person that wrote this movie because they're calling it Chupa.
S-
Like,
supposedly the director or the writer, I forget which, if not both, knew what that like. They're from South America or something like that. But it's
oh
still
man,
like, what do you mean? Like, then why would you do this? Like, you should have like given it a
yeah,
little like I don't know, like Chupacabrito or something. Like make it sound a
yeah.
little
Say the whole name,
right,
right?
something like
Chupa.
small and cute, not like dirty and silly, right? Like, and I think I remember the trailer where it was playing, and I think like the grandpa or something is the one that names it. He just sort
Yeah,
of calls it like Chupa, like I
yeah.
don't.
Even saying it like that doesn't help either.
I mean, whatever. It's a kids movie, and I hope they enjoy it because yeah, it is a cute looking little guy. Uh, but yeah, go
Yeah, so
figure.
I mean, that's some
It's
of the pop culture references
oh yeah,
of Chupacabra
it
has made its way into.
prevails to this day. Oh yeah, it's everywhere.
Now,
Um,
I want to refrain necessarily from there was a segment I wanted to go into, but I don't really know too much about it,
mhm.
and I'm not so culturally knowledgeable about the origins of the Chupacabra and like Puerto Rican
Oh
culture and
sure.
stuff like that.
Mhm.
To kind of make the association on like this lore and how it kind of came about because I don't know, I'm not too familiar with Puerto Rican culture and stuff like that.
Okay.
So like they made a few jumps when I was like reading some stuff about how it reflects like society and
Hmm.
all this kind of stuff, and that's not kind of
Mm.
my area of
Yeah,
expertise in
yeah.
any way.
So I have read about the same along those same lines. In Puerto Rico, it is essentially considered a mascot, and they do have there's symbolic associations attributed to it from that because again, like for them, it's less of a um, I mean, it's less of a, I guess, a threat. And it's just they've adapted it more as uh, just this.
But you would think that's how it's evolved up until this point, because I mean,
Mhm.
the fact that it's a creature that kills, that would instill fear in humans, considering there aren't really any credible instances where a human has been either attacked
Right,
or killed from a chupacabra.
right.
So I
No,
mean, we would really have no reason to fear this particular animal or
no.
cryptid.
But
But
the association to it over here and in South America is different. It's very different from Puerto Rico. It is just straight up, seen as a menace kind of thing. And so yeah,
kind of like
it's
just a
very,
like a pest,
like the what? I'm sorry.
like a pest, kind of
Yeah.
like
Well,
just
like, yeah, I mean, like a pest, or just like this terror at night kind of thing.
yeah.
It's the opposite. Us, they don't like it. So yeah, that is the little I know about that as well. I think it's very interesting and funny mostly. Because
I
you have
I'm
such
sorry.
like
Go ahead.
because you just have such like like contrasting uh beliefs in it, I guess.
Mhm.
I don't know. I just find it very interesting, and amusing.
But it really just depends on where you're from necessarily, where you can kind of make those associations.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Um, I know here, I mean, I'm only speaking from my own bubble here in Texas, South Texas,
Mhm.
that I mean, most people it it's just like another cryptid. It brings like some kind of like the harbinger of doom, so to speak. It is just like an omen. It's a bad omen
There we go. That's what I was
to
trying to think.
think of
Yes.
that,
So no,
for or to like even you see a bunch of dead animals that are their blood's drained, you think something bad. Not just
right, exactly.
locally is happening, but like overall,
Right.
even bigger in the world is gonna happen. It's
Like
sad.
uh, uh it's biblical in nature whenever you see something that,
Yeah.
yeah, because then there's just no real explanation for that sort of thing. So it's like, okay,
And I will say that I'm at
here's
fault for some of that thinking as well, because even whenever um major events, or not even major events, but like things have been reported in the news, and it's
mm,
reported a lot at a certain time, for instance like the Phoenix lights, whenever that was on the news at the
mhm.
time, when it's heavily into religion, my mind was already thinking end
We're
of the
gonna be,
world stuff already, right? End of the world stuff, right?
I mean,
Because
it's
I
you're
mean,
in the right way. That's
realistically, that is a Christian characteristic. Is that like you're always thinking of it's a kind of a doom religion in a way.
yes, they're
Uh,
always,
Yeah,
every
they always look for the
generation
end.
is convinced that uh that is when the apocalypse is going to happen. Oh, okay, it didn't happen this time. All right, give it another 10 years, give it another 20 years. It's going to happen
Right,
like,
and I will point to also the Chupacabra. Whenever that was getting reported allegedly a
mhm.
lot on the news and stuff, that was another thing. There's a lot of dead animals. Oh no, that's part of the end.
Yep.
And I guess one of the last things I do want to go over is kind of just our general opinion about how this mythology will evolve over time. I mean, will eventually people disregard the chupacabra and like be like, no, that's not real after all, and just
Mm.
fall to the wayside, like many probably other cryptids that we don't really know about even to this day.
I
Um, go ahead.
I think it's gonna go along in the it's gonna sort of stay in the same vein as other cryptids like Bigfoot, where you're gonna have just two bodies of thought. The one being, okay, it's got to be something scientific in nature, or the other and being, oh, it's some sort of supernatural. And those also go with the associations of where, excuse me, where the sightings are located. Because in like, say, the more rural areas, like out in the forest or whatever, you have the people there that are, salt of the earth, those sorts of folks they're raised, and they go by like very like very sort of physical sort of mindset and understanding. It's like, okay, you have to see it to believe it, and this is what I
Right.
see. front of me. It's this is what I understand. And then you have the more scientific ones where it's like, okay, we just because you can't observe it naturally doesn't mean that it does not exist, necessarily. However, we have these tools to assist us to maybe try to describe this in a more uh, uh, yeah, intelligent, no, in a more just science backed study. So um, I
I
don't. I don't think that's ever going to change necessarily. As far as it being ignored or forgotten or anything like that, I just there's people
I
are always going to find this stuff. I imagine they're always going to find it interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
I think it's just gonna become more fantastical, and like you said, it's either gonna be science-based related, like, okay,
mhm.
we still haven't found this alleged
So
creature that, like, if they get some DNA and, like, it doesn't resemble anything that we know in the current uh, line of species.
right,
And of course, that could be something hopeful
new
that we're
species.
gonna either discover this, like maybe the chupacabra is finally gonna have its day in the scientific world where it's real, guys. Like this
Yeah.
thing is out there, but now we gotta kill it, you or
We
it's
kill it
gonna be
out of it. I wonder what it tastes like.
it's gonna yeah right. There's gonna be hunters out there like looking for that chupacabra rib or some shit like
Mm,
that.
hungry.
And again, being more fantastical that the more these alleged sightings and encounters are reported, and we don't have any concrete evidence, like visually
Hmm.
speaking, of this creature, then it's gonna evolve into like that's when we like threw Bigfoot into this interdimensional thing where it's just popping in and out of dimensions, and that's why we're never able to see it. It's always done
Right.
at night. And again, we've attributed a lot of these things to, like we said, Bigfoot. You can even say like ghosts that are like kind of in our just not in our light spectrum visually. So like the ghosts are there, but they're not. We can't really see them because visually we just can't see that kind of
Where
light.
it's limited. Yes. Right.
Yeah. So eventually it might come to those kind of explanations, but I mean, it's uh, Chupacabra still hasn't risen, I guess, in the hierarchy of cryptids as
Go to the
to
level
the
of
Bigfoot
fame.
level.
Yeah. 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 No,
Or
it's
Mothman, even though Mothman's only had 1 year of devastation, so to speak, or sightings, which ended in, of course, the bridge collapse. I
yeah.
mean, there's been nothing since, but yet there have been
We
humanoids
need
that
to get Richard Gere to make a cover movie. That's
yeah,
um,
but I feel like the Mothman continues. It's such a strong presence in the cryptid world
mhm.
because people have constantly seen something similar because they don't necessarily call it the Mothman, but it's the characteristics of something that looks humanoid-ish flying in the sky. And there's been multiple sightings of that and reported sightings
Yeah. Yeah.
and all over the world too, not just in Point Pleasant,
Right.
which is probably the most famous part of it.
I mean, the whole town loves it, and they promote it. It's a tourist source of revenue for them. So hey, that contributes.
I think I've said something similar to this on other of our episodes, but where's our festival of the unknown here in the Rio Grande Valley? I want La Llorona festival here at the fucking
Man,
resort or something,
that would
That would be
definitely
so cool.
it would, but like it would only be possible like during Halloween because any other time people would just be like, "You're fucking crazy!" Like we'd
No,
probably
I
like
doubt it.
protesters coming at us with like
I
salt and
fucking
rosary.
doubt it. I fucking doubt it. I'm telling you right now, like if there was a festival that we had celebrating and like kind of putting to rest a lot of the fear
Oh
bases with some of these ghosts and legends and superstitions that we have as from our own culture, um, we just celebrate them and have fun with them because I mean, realistically, people can dress up as these particular things. Maybe the whatever that hooved demon goat thing, like in the stories that must not die.
yeah,
The one that lady that went to the prom and she danced with a guy and he was a
yeah.
devil, blah 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 blah.
They dance faster and faster, and
So if we celebrate these things and then we have our taco trucks
Oh
and
man,
our cumbias playing in the background, like it'll be a good time. I guarantee you, people would love to do that shit.
the
Right now, all we have in the valley is, I mean, something that we have pretty much all over the world, which is the UFO convention in Edinburgh. But we need to have a Mexican American superstition kind of festival with all the ghosts and
mhm.
lore that we
The
scare our
closest thing
children
in
with.
Mexico, in that town where that celebrates the Day of the Dead. That's pretty much it.
No, that is something totally different. We
I
need
said
something brand
closest. Yes.
closest.
And
Yes, yes, closest.
and I'm talking about, like, the ghosts and stuff, and that's actually more of a celebration of honoring their ancestors, that sort of thing, as
Yeah, yeah,
opposed
yeah.
to like
No, this is. I feel like this is honoring like I'm gonna say like the forbidden part of our culture.
mm, well,
Because like I
yeah.
mean, someone could like if someone's gonna walk around with like the hologram Jesus with the eyes moving and shit like that. It's a costume.
Yeah.
Or maybe a crate of eggs, like touching people, like rubbing it on them and shit like something fun. Something
Sure.
fun. I
Yeah, that's
mean, mind you, there'd be a lot of like maybe older Mexican folks that would find that
frowned down.
way completely offended by that.
Mhm.
But I mean, if you wanted to like celebrate some of these traditions and not have such a stigma attached to them, fucking liven the shit up. That's just my opinion, though.
I think that would be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Tacos, cumbias. Who wouldn't want to have fun with that?
Ghosts and shit. Yep, exactly. I don't know.
We can get sponsored by Lone Star Beer.
Mm,
Only Texas beer is here, right? Nothing else. Like
I think there's some
only Texas
Chupacabra
beers.
beer or something somewhere.
Huh?
I think there's like Chupacabra beer or cryptid
Oh yeah,
beer,
yeah, there is.
but
Yeah,
we
well,
need
we
some
have those here.
for here. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Mm.
if anyone out there has any of their own stories, whether it be on the serious side or you want to just a fun story of a chupacabra or just anything, continue the conversation, please. You can comment below. We'll have
Yeah,
the opportunity on Anchor that on Spotify. You can leave a comment there. You can leave us a voicemail. If you don't want to write it down, you can just tell us, you all suck and chupacabra rules. And we'll play that. We'll play that on our next episode.
oh, jeez. Sure.
Hey, we like interaction no matter if it's ridicule, praise, um, just telling us how mediocre we are, whatever it is. If we have given you some misinformation, like tell us. Like we're willing to correct ourselves at any point in time.
Sure.
But there won't be much. I'm gonna tell you right now because we're pretty tight.
We do our research.
We do our what do we call ourselves? Like self-proclaimed paranormal or something researcher, something like that. I don't know, but that was a lot funnier than Daniel made it up.
Yeah, he did.
I forgot it though.
It's all right.
Um,
Wikipedia scientists, the best of the
yeah,
best.
Wikipedia scientist. So yeah, if you are watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. I mean, again, anything else you want to add about the Chupacabra before we continue ending this episode?
No, yeah, like I said, this was. I didn't think that we were gonna have a whole lot to chat about necessarily, but there were like a few little interesting things here and there as far as our little factoids that we found. It's
Right.
it's
I mean,
shit.
just like when we were doing the Duendes episode, it's something to have fun with and to give some information on. And again, like we did the Lechusa one, which is more of a deep dive because that one has an extensive
That
history,
has it's a very long history. Yeah,
a
absolutely.
very extensive, long history, and not just with in our Mexican culture. And I'm talking like all over the world. Like there's something
Mhm.
similar like that. And
Yes.
here, again, since this is a more contemporary type of cryptid creature, um, it's still kind of finding its way. The mythology will grow.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that'll be it for us. And again, if you are watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. If you are listening on any of the platforms, be sure to rate us and review us and leave a comment. Don't be afraid to let us know what you think and maybe what other cryptid or paranormal discussion you want us to kind of go over.
Sure.
We can do that as well. Again, like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Blue midgets come into my house. Hey, it's ridiculous. I had some kind of a rectal probe. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Ridiculous.